Government should reintroduce bursary or scholarships to students with cognitive disabilities, while employment of physiotherapists, occupational and speech therapists in all government schools should be of utmost importance. Training and retraining of special educators to have a broader knowledge of children with cerebral palsy. Computer-based educational programs should be adopted. Like I talked about their hands and all that. They may not be able to write, but they will be able to use their computers. Ensuring that all schools, recreational centers, etc., have all the accessibility facilities, because the major challenge faced by persons with CP is mobility. Federal government should intensify efforts in the implementation of the National Disability Act to reduce the incidences of discrimination and stigmatization of persons with cerebral palsy. Government at all levels should channel resources towards building of diagnostic centers across the states, because there is a saying that health is wealth. It will be a good move that serves as preventive measure. Government should specially target parents of persons with cognitive disabilities in all the local intervention, in all the social intervention programs, in order to reduce poverty among them and to enhance their caregiving services, as well as curbing the incidence of killing and abandoning their children with cognitive disabilities. Now, the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities should make conscious efforts to involve parents of children with CP, so that they can partake on behalf of their children in all activities of the Commission alongside other clusters of disability. In conclusion, we acknowledge the media as a critical stakeholder in this campaign, because without the media, Millions of Reasons campaign will not go beyond the corners of this hall. Without the media, our voices will not be heard. We call on other stakeholders as well, especially the CSOs and well-meaning Nigerians, to add their voices to promote the plight of this most marginalized group amongst persons with disabilities, in the spirit of the SDGs slogan, which says, "Leave no one behind." We are also worried because this situation is entrenching poverty amongst these families, and help is not coming from anywhere. And most regrettably, empowerment of parents of these children with CP is not part of the program of the newly created National Commission for Pension for Persons with Disabilities. Another challenge is that of feeding disorder, which impedes their growth. Parents need nutritionists to step in and guide them, and some of these children and adults require feeding tubes. A survey of 2012 revealed that the lifetime cost of this type of feeding was estimated to be nearly $1 million per person. That's through the person's lifetime, $1 million just to feeding tube. Now, this is how expensive it is to manage persons with cerebral palsy. A friend also told me about her community. They will put them in the water and say, if this child is possessed, he will not be able to come out. But if the child is innocent, he will come out. Can you imagine that? Someone who cannot swim, who cannot use out. So what do you mean by if he's innocent, he will come out? You know. So we have these conditions, these situations in Nigeria. So CP is caused by abnormal brain development or damage to the developing brain that affects a person's ability to control his or her muscles. The rate of prevalence of the cause, CP is caused, like 40% of the cause is before birth. Something goes wrong somehow along the line in the pregnancy in 40% of the cases. But in 60%, it could be environmental. Like you see this thing they call join this. Generally, Nigeria, especially in the rural communities, a child has join this. It's not a problem, Abi. Go and boil pawpaw leaf, drink, give the child to drink. But join this, if not well managed, destroys the brain. It's one of the causes of cerebral palsy. So we are advocating that the practice of a woman gives birth today and you discharge her in a couple of hours should be discouraged, should be discontinued. You can imagine what it is. Some of the special needs centers till today have not even resumed. And then you're talking about distance, social distancing and everything. You have somebody with CP that you know you need to hold, you need to manage, and everything. It's really a challenge. Like he talked about funding, we depend on our friends, family and friends to support us. Basically, that's what it is. And now with the COVID, poverty has increased, so even that support is not coming as expected. Their education, I remember that during the lockdown, some special centers, that they had to do the online school. We are charging, really, really high. And when you have this child, apart from what you are paying as the fee for the online class, as against other children, you need to either be at home, it's like you are not working, you the parent need to be at home, or you need to get another teacher to come to your home to sit with your child through the online class. So you are paying, this person, they are paying this other person. So the COVID has not helped us. And then when they talk about the palliative, in fact, I had to write to the Minister of Education during the COVID, explaining our dilemma. And unfortunately, I don't know if they really understand what we are saying. And then we had to solicit from our friends for money to support, palliatives and everything for ourselves, because government gave us palliative. We got palliatives as disability groups. Mr. Christian here helped us. Some other groups helped us to get palliative, which was very generous of them. But the palliative we are talking about, the typical palliative, does not have put into consideration the needs of these children. With them, diaper can even be forever. Diaper can be for a 20-year-old, and they are feeding. Most of them don't eat regular food. So it can't come in the palliative package. So these things are there. Even in clothing, it's a whole lot. It affects every aspect of life. Even in clothing, the things they wear, there are clothes that are adaptive. When they go to school, they don't need uniform that is button down, for instance. They need maybe zip or Velcro, all those kind of things that they can help themselves with. So we need people to put all these things into consideration. If you're a fashion designer, when you're making clothes, put these children into consideration, so much that they need that the average person may not think about. But like Mr. Francis has encouraged us, if you read, you begin to put yourself in their world, in their shoes, and then you know what exactly they need to do.
Sorry,
when a woman has a baby should stay in the hospital 2-3 days to be observed. When I had my daughter, she didn't cry. I had her at home, and but we went straight to the hospital, and I told them, I said, this girl didn't cry, there was no movement, she was so sluggish. Doctor said he was the chairman Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. He said maybe she didn't feel like crying. Maybe she didn't feel like crying. So these are some of the things that
private institutions will have to make conscious effort to make sure that happens. And talking about the last pillar, which has to do with learning, that has to do with capacity building. So IFA also, conduct training for parents, for caregivers, medical doctors. Just like you said, there's limitation with regards to our medical system. We have limited manpower. We have limited knowledge. Like I've always said, I can't imagine a world without medical doctors. But when it comes to certain special needs, especially autism, there's limitation. We need to begin to re-emphasize this need for them to, know what we're doing. And of course, like I've always said, please, this is to the government, to parents, to society in general. If you have not come across special needs, it simply means that it has not passed you. It hasn't passed you. So we must treat them with highest level of dignity, respect, and honor. They have a voice. We need to give them that platform to air their voices. AK Foundation for Autism was established in 2008. It's a non-profit and non-governmental organization, NGO, dedicated to serving all persons living with autism in Africa and supporting them to live productive and fulfilling lives, irrespective of age, race, religion, sexual orientation, income level, or gender. The foundation provides services to the autism and special needs community, including cerebral palsy community in the areas of health through assessment and diagnosis, like I said earlier, education, through its early intervention center, programs, awareness and advocacy, and through capacity building projects, which help people to learn more about the subject of special needs and advocacy. We have talked about the existing gaps. There is so much more to the existing gaps. So much more. So much more. So please, let's take the message out there so that those that need to know, those at the levels of policy making, decision making and all, they should understand what it is. Unfortunately, the things you see, if you go into the system, it's so appalling. It's very appalling.